Hey, I hope everybody is feeling well here. So just before I will do a kind of quick intro, but I think we'll turn to is it the safety moment now? We did the energizing moment, but we have this tradition. Of course, safety is a very important thing in our company. So yeah, let's just have a look at the agenda. So we just did the introduction. Patrick will do the safety moment. Of course, we always like to start our town hall to welcome our new people and to celebrate some of the job anniversaries. And then, as I told you last time, we'll go more into giving you more clarity on how we are organized. You remember in the last town hall, I told you that until the end of the year, we will focus on us. And then starting next year, we will start to open it up, because I truly believe that to be able to make a difference as a HR team, we have first to make sure we know how we operate. And I know there are still some clarification to give. So step by step, we'll give you some more clarification, and we'll have time for Q&A at the end. Bob Flexon, our new CEO, I'll speak about that in a minute, was supposed to be here at the end. He can't, and I will build on that, but he will come at our next town hall in January. So, and I will give you, because I've been having the chance in the few days he's been here to interact with him, I will just give you a flavor about the main priority and the main conviction he has. And I can tell you that we can be ready. He's a lot into people and culture, which is a great news for us and, of course, for this company. Let's move to safety, Patrick.
Okay, thanks very much, Veronique. I just wanted to, before I do the safety moment, just a couple of housekeeping reminders. Again, if you are not on camera, please put your camera on. We would like to see your face. This is an extension of our day-to-day or in-person relationship, and so it would be great to be able to see you. And also the same thing for the sound quality. Remember to check your mic that it's muted unless you are speaking, just to ensure that we keep a good sound. And thirdly, which is a reminder from last time, we need to remember to speak slowly and clearly, because
Okay, Patrick.
I'm not pointing at you, Veronique. I'm just saying that we do have a lot of colleagues whose English language is second or third or fourth, and so we just need to be mindful of that. I know we get very excited and we tend to speak quickly, and I am exactly the same way. But just to keep that in mind. Now, the safety moment it's just a reminder that as the fall has arrived and temperatures are dropping and it's getting darker. And of course, not only roadways, but also pavements and sidewalks are being filled with leaves. And so we need to be mindful when driving that it actually with driveways or roadways filled with leaves can be just as slippery as ice. Same thing with sidewalks. And when we're walking, just to take our time, be mindful of where we put our feet. And if we're in a car, to make sure that we are mindful of the speed and everything else. So that's the safety moment of today, and so that not just that it reminds in this room. If you speak to a colleague who's not participated today in this town hall, please pass on the message, because if each of us talk to one or two additional colleagues, the safety message will spread very wildly. That's my spiel.
Thanks, Patrick.
Pleasure.
So let's move to our people here. What's new in the team?
Yes, so since we last met, we have some newcomers that we would like to welcome. So we have Nick Fortna, our Talent Acquisition Director.
Nick,
Maria
can
Mitchell.
You stand up here?
Okay, if you're in the room, please stand up.
Hey, big applause for Nick. Welcome.
And if you're online, can you please wave or raise your hand or do something so that you pop up? So Maria Mitchell, Senior HR Generalist. Standing up in the room or waving online? I can't see. Then we have Carlene Carcamo, HR Generalist. And Cassandra Ferrero, also an HR Generalist. So welcome to you all. Are you standing up or are you waving? And finally, Michael Bernstein, Senior Compensation Director.
Yeah, welcome. Michael is in the room.
There you go. Very welcome. And with that, we also have some anniversaries we would like to recognize. So we have
birthday to you.
Happy anniversary to you. So we have Carol, Letitia, and Agata from Europe who are celebrating 1-year anniversaries. Congratulations to you all.
We see you, Agata, on the screen here.
I don't know what Agata is doing to be pinpointed
Letitia
like that.
Is here, I guess, also. I can see her, Carol.
Yeah. Then we have 5-year anniversaries, Samantha, Michelle, and Jeff. 2 of them are in the HRS and the other in the data management. So congratulations to you. And then I want to say special congratulations to one of my team members, Jackie, who's celebrating 10 years.
Hey.
Are you there, Jackie? Stand up, wave, take a bow. And finally, very honorable Suzanne and Robert celebrating 20 years.
Oh, a big applause here for this.
Yes, congratulations to you.
Good, thank you so much, Patrick. And let's start with a quick intro again. I already did an intro, but so I'll try to speak slowly. If you see it's too fast or you don't understand, then you just put your hands, okay? Because I had a lot of feedbacks like try to slow down. So, and I know with the French accent, I'm trying to get rid of it, but a lot of people told me it was very sexy and sophisticated. So now I want to keep it. So no, I'm very happy for 3 reasons. And since last town hall, so first of all, we are on site here. And as I was telling Hans, we want to, at the end of the day, if we think about what we're doing, we're here to, we can say support, partner, but we're here to work with the business. And there's nothing better than just coming, being on site all together and looking at our facilities, because that's the best way to connect to our mission and what we're doing every day. So very happy to be here and can't wait to have the tour. For all of those who are online, who you can't be here, we'll make sure, Patrick and the team, that we can share some pictures so you can at least, live what we are experiencing here. The second reason why I'm very happy is we have a new CEO now. It's been a big thing. I was telling you when we met in June that some of my objectives were working at the governance level and making sure we can, make the changes there. We have a new CEO. So it just joined Bob Flexon, I think it's 10 days ago now. Still very new. Some of you in Valley Forge, you had the chance to have some interaction with you. I can tell you that we are working with him to make his first 100 days, as we usually say, as more effective as we can. He has a very interesting track record in the energy sector. He's been a CEO before, and he's been working in the same kind of environment that we are in here. So everything is there for a success, and I'm very excited because one more thing is, I was telling you in the introduction, is a lot into people and culture. And for those who are here in Valley Forge, one of the questions of the employee was, what will be the first thing you want to do? The reply was straight, I want to work on culture. So that's means a lot, and he has a lot of conviction, and I share a lot of these convictions. When I speak to you about pleasure and efficiency at work, it's multiplied by 10. He's a lot into pleasure. He loves to engage with people. He told me, Veronique, I want to see everybody here. I want to engage, and he's a lot into efficiency. And again, in Valley Forge, and I'm trying just to give you a feel for those who are not here, but you will be able to meet him in our next town hall. And after the earning call next week, he will organize a whole employee town hall. But he said something which I found very interesting from a cultural perspective and how we will work. He said, I don't believe into cost reduction, I believe into cost efficiency. That's a very strong statement, because in the last years, we've been really working on cost reduction, and we know that we have to lower our OPEX. That being said, there's a way to do it, which can be also just reviewing the way we work, be innovative, try to, optimize our processes, and that's what we want to do in HR. So that's really interesting, first statement that he made. He will be coming on site. He will be coming at first week of December in utilities. He will go to energy services. He will go on site in Amerigas to see our drivers, to see our technicians. He will do it. And I was very happy to interview him. And I guess most of you have seen the interviews. It was done in a very agile mode, I was like, oh, do you want to speak? No, just come sit down, interview me. I was like, okay, very good. So that's very spontaneous. That's very agile. And I'm sure he will push a lot of very good things here. So we'll have some Q&A at the end of this session, and we'll make sure we have time for Q&A. Who is the timekeeper here? Because Yeah, very good. Thanks, Sydney. So you'll tell us. We really need to make sure we have some time for that. The last reason why I'm very excited is this is the last tunnel of the year. And, you know, I love to reflect on time because we are always so busy in life. We don't have time to just stop and say, okay, what happened? And now I was just stopping here and I was like, oh my God, it's been nearly 6 months I took this job. Can you believe that? No, it feels 5 years. But what I want to share here is I told you when I took the job, I said, okay, we have a lot of things to fix together. We have to give a lot of clarity. We have to be really more thoughtful about what are our goals. We are getting through that, and I will make sure, and with Erin and the team here, that we give you, and Patrick and Margaret, we give you more clarity. But I told you also one thing when I started the job, is that what is the most important for me is behaviors, the way we do things, and you will always hear me saying that the way we do things is as important as what we do, because the way we do things drives the results. That's a strong conviction I have. And what I'm very happy to see in the team here, we are making some very good progress. You will see when you hear Erin, Patrick, and Marguerite today. We are not there yet, but from an attitude perspective and from a behavioral perspective, I see a lot of you stepping up. I see and I hear a lot of things which is happening. I was really happy to meet with the Americas team that Cal brought together. I know in Europe, they just brought together in Poland. I know that Erin, you brought your team together. Marguerite was here, she was with the team. We are getting back to be together as a team, just to get to know each other, just to get some energy, just to problem solve problem. And a lot of you are coming to say, that's great, we love that. We just want to be together and solve the problem together. So that's what for me is the most important, is how can we work as a team and how can each of us really feel really fulfilled in what we are doing. And I see that. We're not there yet totally, but I see that and I hope you feel it also. At the end of the day, you know, I'm here with the team leading, but I truly believe into empowerment. I can't have the solution to all. I'm really happy to help to solve problem. And I'm really happy to contribute at all of the level of the company, but you're the one really, and we trust you. If you're here, it's because you know your stuff, and with the right attitude, everything can happen and magic can happen. And again, and I will always say that, if I'm here, it's been 6 months, very happy to be here. And if I'm here in my personal situation, you know, it's because I really truly believe that as a team, we can make it happen and we can really make the future a bright future. That's what I wanted to share with you. Now, let's go into the how we organize. And I know I shared with you my goals 6 months ago, but now we are in this period where I want to deep dive on it. But before, I want to do an appreciation ball. Do you like it? Can you put it again? I love this stuff. Erin was reminding me, she was like, you know, this is, look at that. This is what we will call the appreciation ball. We will send that to all of you, and we want to send that in the whole company. So anytime we see something nice, something positive, we can send it to each of our teammates. Love it. So Erin was reminding me, she was like, we were speaking about that yesterday, and said, you know what, Veronique, this is Thanksgiving. And I know it's a big thing here in the US. I think the European colleagues knows that, but that's even like, it seems to be even like more important than Christmas. This is a great family, you know, gathering. But what is most important in Thanksgiving, what I understood, and I'm still learning here about the culture, it's all about being thankful and grateful. I love this spirit, because at the end of the day, I truly believe into gratitude in life. You know, I always say there's different ways to look at life. Sometimes you can just, and of course, life is not that easy. And I can tell you my last 6 months has been a bumpy road. I got so excited, like, oh my God. And some days I'm like, oh my God, no. Oh yeah, no. That's part of life. Human being, we're here on Earth and we live that. That being said, I always, and I don't know if you have it, but I have my gratitude journal, and I always do that at night. There's always one nice thing which happened in the day. It can be just a smile of somebody, or just, you know, a nice word that you hear. Gratitude is the recipe for success. You know, and because this is the specific time in the US, I think it's great just to think about how grateful we can be. First of all, to be together as a team, and to really just each of us, you know, make the difference every day. So let's take this theme, this gratitude theme, as really what can drive us through this town hall. We'll have a lot of appreciation balls through the town hall, because at the end of the day, this town hall for me are here to give you more clarity, but I trust on my team. So my direct reports here to give you clarity now that we reorganize, and we'll deep dive into it, are Erin. Erin is responsible for all of the business units. So she's the one responsible for all of the domestic business partnering. She also has another very important responsibility, which is global executive comp. And I want to make a big applause here. You know, this is a board next week. Just finalized yesterday the deck to be posted to the board. So let's make a big applause, because I can tell you it's a lot of stressful work, and we are just really improving that step by step. I can't applaud, so I count on you to applaud here. So Erin will speak in a minute, and then Marguerite. So we have, as you remember, we have 2 global center of excellence here with Marguerite on talent, on performance, and on org design. And she will also speak here, and Patrick on communication, culture, and bite. And we are making very good progress. You'll hear about that. Now, if I focus on the appreciation, last time that I spoke with you, I don't know if you remember, I was a little bit like frustrated, disappointed, because I was telling you I really want to lead by example, and we were in this process in the US, where we were in the annual appraisal process, and we were like 40%, reaching the objective 40%. So in a few days, we went to 100%. And I was like, wow. And I couldn't say that to each of you, but I went in Valley Forge, where I was sitting, and I went to see the people saying, that means we can do it together. I'm very proud. I was very frustrated, and you know how it happened in life, but I got very impressed on how we managed to get to the 100%, not only us, but all of the business units. So I want to make a second big applause to all of us here, because it gives me a lot of hope on how we can really work as a team in a very effective way together. That appreciation, the first appreciation ball of this town hall is for all of you here, really related to this. Now, if we come back to the goals, so I shared with you, when I joined in June, like Mario and the board works on what would be the goals of HR. We are now in these coming weeks. You remember our objective is to make sure we already started the fiscal year. We want at the end of November that everybody's got their role their goals in the system. And I really count on you in the same way we did for annual appraisal to do it right here for HR, but also to make sure as business partners in the room that all of our business partners does it, because at the end of November, and Bob Flexon will be really straight on that, we need all to have goals. And it's one thing to have goals, it's also another thing to have qualitative goals. So let's do it step by step. But just to remind you, what are the goals? So this is what I have in the system for myself, and then we'll share more in the different areas. So delivering efficient HR, business partnering, and operations. So you know the way we operate. We have domestic on one side. Erin is handling that. And we have Desiree, who is now, I was handling Europe until in the last town hall, I realized I can't do all. So Desiree, are you here, Desiree? I can't see you here. Maybe we could see you on the screen.
I'm there.
She's now the senior HR director for Europe. And she's, of course, part of the team here. We are in a governance that we didn't put in place yet. So I think we will finalize this governance for beginning of the year. Desiree, can we see you here? No, I don't see you here.
There.
Oh, I can hear you. So that's very good. So now Desiree is handling Europe, and she has the responsibility for France directly. So she's part of the HRLT, of course. And Erin and herself have these objectives about delivering efficient HR business process. So what does that mean? That means a lot about cost reduction. We're still in this spirit about how can we make sure we stabilize our cost. And of course, the people cost are part of it. But it's a lot also about how do we increase and how do we optimize our HR operations? How do we simplify? And I know a lot of works are going on at the moment in the US and in Europe. And how do we redesign compensation? Because that's a very important subject. It's not compensation for compensation. It's also because we know that especially when we build some bonuses and so on. It drives behaviors and it drives the right behaviors. Then talent performance management, it's all about how do we make sure that we have a good process in place to do some talent reviews, how do we identify our succession planning, and how do we make sure at the end of the day we have the right capabilities for the futures. And because a lot of things happen in our company in the last years, we have to reset everything. We have to redo like the talent mapping and have the good metrics to know who is where and what are the succession plans. And last but not least, communication, culture, and diversity. Here, we're still into the spirit about accountability. We really believe that fostering a culture of accountability will be what makes us succeed. And putting the goals and having some good goals is the way to have good accountability. But it's also about, you know, what is the culture and how do we make sure that we have a good change management process and that we do all of that in an inclusive environment. So that's my goals here. So I will ask each of the leaders here to share their initiative. I know you are in this process with all of them to translate that into goals. And of course, goals have to be smart. We have to be able to measure them. And I really count on you and on the leaders here in the coming months to make sure that each of us, again, leading by example, have their really detailed goals ready, really clear for you and for your leaders, and set in the system. Good. Any question on that? We'll do some Q&A, but and we'll deep dive now in each of the areas. Good. Now, appreciation ball. Who is taking the lead on this one? You will see we'll have appreciation goals through the whole town hall here.
So, Véronique, if you may pause for a minute, I would like to voice up, if you let me.
You can, Margaret, of course.
Can you all hear me well?
Yes. Very good, Margaret.
Okay, perfect. So, in your introduction, you mentioned problem solving and collaboration as mindset and behaviors that you would like to see in our team. I do believe that we have a very good recent case study that demonstrated both problem-solving mindset and strong collaboration within our teams. And this project became very famous in the US. It's called I9. It's less famous. It's less famous in Europe, but I will let you explain, Erin, what I9 is about. But it clearly demonstrated problem solving and collaboration. So we wanted to appreciate you, Nick, and your team for making this challenging project such a collaborative one for us as a team.
Nick, shout out to the team. I saw a few people on Nick's team that actually helped get the I9s underway. But first, say hello to our international colleagues and everyone on the phone or Zoom virtually. I have gotten pretty good at telling people the I9 story in 90 seconds, but I'll try to go slow. So the short story here is, I think for most people that know in the US, you have to fill out an I9 as your final step before you pre-board into the organization. About 2 years ago, there was an audit that took place, and we found out across the US businesses that we had failed to complete I9 successfully in every line of business and corporate. I will tell you the biggest problem was in AmeriGas for different reasons. And these dated back to, I don't know if Jen Hood's on the phone, but we joke about Jen's employment records and dating back into the early 2000s. So we had issues between I9s being incomplete pre-2018 and then post-2018. And COVID and the way we hire people just got more complex there. So that's what the issue actually was. I had heard about this problem in a periphery for about a year and a half. As my job expanded, one of the first gifts I got was inheriting this opportunity. And so what I've been most impressed with, and Marguerite teed this up really effectively, was one, being able to name the problem and how do you solve it, getting the right people around the table, and showing up as a team. And candidly, Nick brought that to the table. He got everyone to understand what the issue was. We got the HR team across the board. I had AmeriGas folks driving all over. I have Nat Gas employees helping us on the AmeriGas side. So it's just been a really nice team effort. And we are on track, Nick, for 12/31 to get all of our I-9s complete. So we can finally check the box to get off of the audit naughty list, which will make both Veronique and I and our board very, very pleased. So thank you to Nick and the team. Yeah, so nice segue.
Yeah.
And just for the team here, I think every time we talk about what's the US team focused on, I think Veronique, you gave good clarity, but we're still getting used to the way of working. So I'll go through two things. Really the focus areas for the US team and then how we're structured, because candidly, we're still working through all of that. So if you mind, Sid, we'll go to the next one. Ooh, I get to appreciate someone before we go there. So another one that you guys will hear from both Veronique and myself and the leadership team is this opportunity to build capability and build community and build culture within our own organization. So I want to appreciate Wendy Laverty, who set up training for all of us on artificial intelligence about a month ago. And it has been one of the more collaborative and interactive training sessions I've seen in my tenure here. And I know a lot of you were really inspired, had fun, learned some things. And most importantly, it sets us up for a foundation that will do more learning and collaboration as we move forward. So big shout out to Wendy. Okay. And so, yeah, way to go, Wendy. I love the chat. I wish I could see my computer so I could participate on the chat stuff. So just to ground folks, so Veronique gave us an overview of really what the team is focused on. And if you think about the US team, so there's 3 pillars that I talk about the team really focused on stateside. So there's this HR operations area, and that's mostly payroll, benefits, and HRIS currently. Then you've got centers of excellence. So we talked about the global centers of excellence. We do have them stateside. So mostly talent acquisition, we have some OD, and we have benefits. And last but certainly not least, we've got the pillar around HR generalists and HR business partners. So that's really how we're structured across the board. It's brand new under one sort of leadership structure. So even since I've been in my role, my job has shifted. So we've put new leaders in places, we've changed a few things up. I would say every quarter it feels a little bit stronger. We're getting a little bit more clear about what the roles and responsibilities are. We have leaders in roles, which is a great thing. So we've seen some new folks joining the teams. But I'll spend a few minutes just talking that through because I do get a lot of questions about how are we structured and what are we how do we all kind of work together? So I'll start with the HR BPs and the HR generalists because we've made significant progress in that area. So a year ago, Hans talked about this. It's kind of crazy to think about how much this organization has really shifted. So over the last year, we've essentially changed the HR structure that we now have a business partner lined up with each line of business. So Hans has an HR business partner, Joe has an HR business partner, Heather. So we all have very clear sort of roles and responsibilities. The ELT members all have a specific HR business partner. And I think, and I can look to a few people in the room, that we actually all understand that. So we've got HR business partners now sitting at the leadership table of all of the presidents and the senior staff across the board. That has been, I think, one of the biggest things that we've been able to do since June. So first of all, a big shout out to all of the HR BPs, all of the leaders, because they've done an amazing job. We are still figuring it out. Some people have seen, it took me a little bit to unplug from my home business, which was AmeriGas, Kyle. But I am finally out of all the leadership meetings. The team has embraced it. I think that you hear it from Hans. They are really making a space for the HR teams to show up, which has been really excellent to see. So we're still working through governance and how that all figures itself out and then how the teams are structured underneath. But that's been big progress. Then you think about the centers of excellence here. So we have TA, and we talked a little bit about this last time. TA had the corporate group, and then you had the AmeriGas field recruiting team. So when we created Nick's position, it essentially is to bring both of those teams together. So how do you really think about driving efficiency? How do you optimize the model? How do you increase capability? How do we think about data driving a lot of our strategies? How do we think about a candidate-centric perspective? on the heels of the I-9 update, we have to think about safety and compliance in everything we do, and that goes into hiring practices. So that's going to be a big objective of the TA team. As we think about comp and Ben, I'll give a big shout out to Chris Ballard. So Chris, I don't know if he's on the phone or not. I keep on saying the phone, it's a Zoom. But Chris has been an amazing employee, colleague, and friend to many of us over the years. Chris is going to be exiting the organization end of December. If anyone has seen Chris around the office, we are just razzing him and having a ton of fun and trying to enjoy his last few weeks. But as we think about Chris exiting the organization, we've essentially broken his role up into 2 new roles. So Michael Bernstein has joined the company this year. He'll be this week. It feels like it's been a year. Yeah, it feels like it's been a year. So welcome, Michael. And Jen Hood is also going to take over HR shared services. So that's the payroll, benefits, HRIS side. So exciting new role for Jen. Really pumped up to have Michael join the team. And really just a big thank you to Chris for his leadership over the years. I will say Chris was the first person I met on my first day here. So we have plenty of good stories and fun to talk about, and excited for him and just grateful for, again, his leadership and all that he's brought to the company. So we'll have more to come as we think about benefits and compensation as we go forward. Veronique mentioned it. Compensation, I think we all have this feeling about how do we rethink compensation. And it's not because the way we did it in the past was wrong or bad, but the company has shifted. You know, I think about when I joined 3 years ago, we were trying to become more of a matrix. We didn't do that fully. So then we had some legacy sort of systems and processes baked in. We now have a CEO who has convictions and strong perspectives around the operating model, about how we need to incent people, how we think about behaviors. And so that's what's really going to drive how we rethink compensation. And I think all of us in different ways, whether it impacts you personally or you contribute to compensation, I think you're going to be really excited about the direction we go. So there's a lot of good stuff that's happening there. Last is operations. I think for the US folks, we know that there's opportunity in how we work more effectively together. I go back to the survey we did probably in May, and that really came from a lot of folks sharing feedback that we had to be clear about roles and responsibilities. Folks didn't know where some transactions actually took place, who was accountable for what. So if we pare this back, it's really about getting super clear about how your day-to-day operations should take place, how it interacts across the board. So how you know clearly who's on point for different things, and making sure it happens effectively every time. Every time. Because I think the thing that pains me, or I think about where I can help the team the most, is when I go to talk to different people in different groups, there's frustration, and it's not necessarily personal.
I'm multitasking.
It's just there's not a lot of clarity around who's supposed to do what.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Somebody was not on. Somebody was not on mute.
Teams calls right now. I'm on our HR.
Oh wait, here we go. Okay, it's muted.
You muted Aaron.
Aaron, I muted you. Sydney, unmute the microphone, please.
You can hear us. Do I do it?
Yeah. You go ahead.
You're good now.
Oh, I'm good. I'm back on the line. Okay, cool.
It's a lot about clarity.
It's a lot about clarity. It's a lot of clarity. It's a lot about simplifying things. And there's a lot of good work here, and there's a lot of good spirit around it. So we've gotten the right people around the table to really think about that, feel positive, but we're in the very beginning stages of it. So that's really the US team. Any questions or reactions to that? You guys will start to see this slide more. We will put names so you can start to see it. But it's something that we're starting to talk about even with the business leaders and the broader leadership team, so they can understand how we're structured, what we're focused on, and all that kind of good stuff. So the next slide shows exactly that, really where we're focused. And I'll just hit on a few of these areas because I talked through a bit of it earlier. But if you take a big step back from the HR organization, there's sort of 3 areas that I will get really focused on: the US Centers of Excellence, HR generalists, and operations. But overall, a big agenda item for me is standing up the model. So making sure that the model works, making sure that we have clear roles and responsibilities. A big part of that, candidly, is engagement across the organization. So we have to take care of ourselves so we can support the broader organization. Engagement and our team feeling good about the work that they're doing is at the core of what I bring. And so that's going to be really, really important for us, is how do we make sure that, one, we understand how we all work together, we understand how we support the business, and we are an engaged HR team leading the behaviors that we want the rest of the organization to really model. So that's, if you ask me what the most important thing I can do, that's it. Second, for me overall, is we are constantly asked for scorecards and data and what's working and what's not, and where are there opportunities. And currently we have all sorts of different data, but it doesn't necessarily all sync up together. So one of the things that Veronique and I are working on is, what is a global HR scorecard, and how do you think about data so we can have source information across the board leveraged, and we would feel really confident about it. So that's a big opportunity for us. And then there's really great partnership with our international colleagues, Marguerite and Patrick, to make sure that we're measuring the right things, that we're reporting the right things. Business units have different scorecards, so it all lines up and starts to tell a really compelling story. Or it points to where we need to focus our attention and our efforts. If we think about the US Centers of Excellence, I talked about TA and comp a bit there. The generalists, we talked about this a little bit, but it's also understanding the roles and responsibilities of the HRBPs. There's sometimes confusion as I walk around saying, you know, we thought that person was doing it. We didn't know that that was our responsibility. So I go back to, it's about clarity in the role. And then they are the face of a lot of things that have to get executed through the field. So a big shout out to the business partners that helped execute year end. I think one of the things, not only did they do a really nice job facilitating the process, there was lots of working behind the scenes, lots of good, robust conversation. I think there was pushback, challenges, but man, the problem solving that took place in the room with HR was really, really healthy. And then when I would see the HRBPs out with their client groups, you never knew that anything was going wrong. You never knew that there was anything, you know, perhaps behind the scenes that we had to work through. And I think that is so impressive. So the fact that the team is candidly sort of pushing on each other, talking to the you know, our partners across the board in a healthy, constructive way is really important. But we'll continue to do more of that. And then the last one, again, is going back to, what are the key transactions that sit in shared services? How do we optimize and how do we refine those? And then how do we think about HR scorecards to measure our effectiveness? So that's when we take that global scorecard and we really like narrow into how effective we're running as an HR organization. So those are the big focus points for us and the team. And certainly we've had a really good conversation with my direct reports. And we're starting to figure out exactly how that will translate down to everyone. And so more conversation there, but I will show you guys a little bit of an eye chart of an org chart for me. There's a lot of folks here. It's a power of 11, I think, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, or 13. Geez, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11 is the number I can count. That's why we've got people that can do math on my team for fairly effectively. But you can see this here. This is the whole crew, the mighty US team. We are certainly all coming together as a team and excited about that. But you can start to see the different areas. So you've got the business partners, operations, and the centers of excellence in the US. So that's what we've got on the US side. Anything from my team that you guys would add? No? Nicole just told me it was great. So I think that's my signal that I can wrap it up and hand it off to the next person. Who is giving our next appreciation?
Oh, I think
I
Desiree, I think you're doing it here. Where is Desiree? We can't see you on the screen.
Here. Very happy to give the appreciation ball directly.
Ah, now we see you, Desiree. Very good. So you're the one giving the next appreciation ball and sharing about Europe here.
Yes, and I'm really happy to give this. And actually, I'm giving it to my colleague Agatha, who you saw in the screen earlier. It's a nice lady with the white shirt. And I would give it to her for her relentless effort to organize the wider Europe region. I guess you all, of course, you have heard that we have done quite a lot of reorganization in Europe, and we have 2 areas. Before we had 4 regions, and now we have one geography, which is France, and the other one, which is called Wider Europe. And it really encompasses a lot of countries. And it has been a big effort to organize Wider Europe. And this doing by taking into consideration that it's a really rich and diversified geography, because as I was telling you, there are a lot of countries in there. So she did this by still appreciating these differences, but also putting everybody together to work together and to have a geography which is even stronger than before. So I think she really did and is doing a great job on that. So I think the appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Agatha. We see you on the screen here. It's great. We see you both, so that's perfect. So now, Desiree, you'll speak to us about Europe.
Yeah, great. So happy to see that our goals align pretty much. So we didn't go in the wrong direction. That's already good. So maybe if we can go to the slides of the goals, that would be great.
Cool. Next one.
Anyway, I can start with it. The first one is actually related to the appreciation ball I was sending to Agatha before. So one of our main areas this year, but also for the next years, will be for sure about organization and performance improvement as a general term, which obviously means something different in the different areas we're working in, but at the end it's always the same. It's really to get a performance-driven organization which really works well and an organization which serves the business. So in Wider Europe, this means that Agatha, as I was saying, is really working hard on the organizational design and on the implementation of the new structure, which is something new for everybody involved there, because you have to consider, I mean, they are different countries, obviously, different cultures, coming from different businesses, being companies which were quite independent, which they are still, but, you know, to get everybody together at some certain common elements, it's quite an effort. I mean, we have been already doing it. We're all part of UGII, but still there is something to do there. For France, this means that we're really working on a further deployment of the performance improvement plan. It's a plan which has been going on since a while. It's really based on the fact that we want to have a really efficient and good working business in France, which we already had before, but we have to adapt really to the changing environment. And therefore, it has been already done in some parts of the business in the last years. Sales and customer service were the main focus, and this year we are really extending this performance improvement plan to other areas of the business, such as operations and logistics. In terms of HR projects, I think we're all about compensation everywhere around UGI, which is good. So in terms of what we will do in Europe, it's we really start from the bottom. You have to, I mean, I guess maybe you know or maybe don't. We don't have a lot of systems in Europe set up at a global level, which obviously doesn't help us much. So that's why sometimes also when we need to provide data, we're a little bit we take a bit more time because we need to put everything together. And also in terms of compensation design, obviously we're doing already a lot of stuff, but we would like to have a job analysis and evaluation project which is Europe-wide. So we will start with obviously the kickoff, first evaluations, the pay grade development, which we currently don't have. And we're also working on the bonus harmonization because we realized, putting everybody together, that there are some differences in how we use and apply our bonus systems Europe-wide. We are working quite a lot on employee engagement, and specifically we're launching an employee engagement survey. We will launch it in December in France and in wider Europe right afterwards. Because we really want to hear from our people, especially after the changes we did now and what we are having ahead, what they are thinking about the company, what they feel is working good, what they feel we should do more or better. And obviously we will use the insight that we get from them and hopefully develop a meaningful action plan. We need to work on our HR processes, as I was telling you. So we have already this data things that we're really trying to sort out in order to have more efficient and reliable data all around. But we decided also that we want to do some specific pilot projects in different geographies, because we have a lot of richness and a lot of test cases around the geographies, which we want to leverage on and then possibly deploy Europe-wide. So, for example, we started with a 360-degree feedback process in some countries for some populations, which we are wondering how to maybe roll out. We have something called Career Dialogue, which Agatha is working on. We have in the east of Europe an interesting development of a value-based selection process. So all in all, a lot of projects which are little seeds around Europe, which we would like then to explore and develop further in the next year. And then obviously we have a point in the function optimization. I mean, we came all together and we have already worked a lot in UGII together as an HR team. So I think we have built a strong bond together, but we're still needing to also deploy this bond in the teams. So the fact of having, you know, a winning European HR function, leveraging on the capacities and the capabilities that we actually have, because we have a lot of different backgrounds, which are really interesting. So we have done different stuff around Europe in the HR team, which can really add a value overall on how we actually lead the function. So this is something that we really want to use even more in the next year to get further. So that's it, sort of the agenda.
Thank you very much, Desiree, and thank you very much for taking over Europe. Really happy about that. Great team over there. Of course, I know very well, and very soon, you know, as Erin was saying, we are giving clarity, but we are still in an agile mode because we change a lot of things. Desiree is not yet around the table with us at the HRLT, but of course she will join very quickly. She's really busy with France taking over Europe, so it will happen latest beginning of January. Just give you this example to tell you that, you know, nowadays in companies, change is everywhere. Transformation is all the time. So we can say it's set and it will be like that for the next 5 years. That's not the way we work anymore. That being said, it's not because we change a lot that we can't give clarity, and that's what we're trying to do here. Okay, good. Next, do we have an appreciation ball next?
Yes, I would like to do one if possible, Veronique.
Yes, Agatha.
Thank you. Desiree, thank you for presenting Europe, and one of the key projects you discussed was engagement survey. So I would like to loop back into our American colleague, if I'm allowed. I know Aaron is in a room with you, Veronique, because I've seen him dancing and exercising at the beginning, which I very much enjoyed. But I would like to sort of give a shout out and appreciation to Aaron, because Aaron has very much embraced the support for the European team in terms of finding a solution for us for platform for facilitating engagement survey. And for me, it's a lovely example to share where we cross-pollinate across different geographies and different business units. And I think it demonstrates not only lovely core values and behaviors, but also the power of working together and sort of the learning opportunities and sort of great culture that develops for us as a business. So thank you, Aaron, very much for being our adopted team members in a wider Europe project.
Thank you, Agatha. What do we have next? Hey, Patrick.
Yes, thank you very much. So I'm very pleased to report back. I know that I've already shared some of the overall goals and I've shared the organization, but I wanted to just spotlight a few as I go through. But before I start, I think Veronique, you had an appreciation ball you wanted to throw.
Yes, I wanted to do one. Is Mickey on the call here? Mickey and Linda. Are you here?
Raise your hands.
Yeah, very good. I just wanted to give them a big applause for the Employee Appreciation Day that happened in Valley Forge on Tuesday. It was a really great event and a great atmosphere. Really wanted to say, oh, you're there. We see you. Thank you so much, Mickey. Well done for that. It was really well appreciated. And I don't know if Linda is here. I know she's on and off. Just so you know, Linda will be supporting us, the HRLT, from now on. So thanks, Linda, for joining, and we count on you to be part of the great success here.
Yep. Great, thank you, Veronique. So I'm just going to very quickly to do a bit of highlights here because I don't want to overburden you, but in my area or our area, communication, culture, diversity, and inclusion. One of the main things with regards to communication is that we wanted to move into becoming more of a strategic partner for the business and for the businesses. And one of the goals of, one of the moves there, and I want to take the opportunity to congratulate 3 of my team members. So Megan Mayo, who was confirmed as Senior Communication Manager for AmeriGas. So congratulations, Megan. I'm not sure if we made that announcement yet, but that's I'm really excited for that. I also want to recognize 2 other promotions that have gone through, and that's Christy Muntz, for Communication Managers for UGI Utilities. And congratulations, and Jackie Nawa, who has been promoted Communications Manager for Energy Services. So with regards to then that communication, one, becoming more of a strategic partner, we'll work very closely with our CFO and our investor relations, and of course with the BU heads to make sure that we are addressing the needs. We are together with Sydney. Sydney is currently filling the role of communication manager for corporate. We're reviewing all of the internal processes and procedures. And again, we want you and everybody else in the organization to see us as a strategic partner, to involve us in the process, to develop the messaging. We don't want to be just a catalyst and a distributor of messages. We want to be able to interact with you and say, how do we do this in the best way? How can we improve, and how can we reach our target? And because we're using Populo as one of the tools, we can provide you with metrics and statistics. How many of people did we reach? How many people opened the messages? How many people clicked on the links that were in the messages? So that's the advantage of using my team, or us as a team, to provide you with that support. So that's sort of on the communication side. Another important part, and of course, is culture. And as Veronique was talking about, that culture is something that Bob is very passionate about. And I'm excited to collaborate and partner with other functions and with you within the HR organization as well to work on these things. I have to say thank you for those of you who were part of the working group for the BUGI campaign that is now growing organically. We talk about growing organically, Veronique and I, and this is what we're doing. So there was Wendy, Heather, Jody, Kelly, Christy, Aaron, Christine Doherty. There's a number of people from different functions, different business units working together. And that's what I would like, the way I would like to work. And maybe it's not the most time efficient way of working, but everybody gets a chance to express, everybody gets a chance to contribute. So I'm looking forward to us continuing working on culture and developing culture. And the other area I think that we wanted to do is we want to partner up with benefits and with HR operations to look at employee wellness. What are some of the things that we can do to improve the overall wellness of our employees? And if there's partnerships or projects that we can move forward, and that would also be done in collaboration. Again, our desire or the goal is to break down barriers and break down the silos and collaborate across the board. And then another area which lies very close to my heart, of course, it's diversity and inclusion through the BITE Council. And here again, thank you to Mickey and to the rest of you who were involved for the engagement committee. Mickey can testament that we had at least 30 employees at Valley Forge that signed up for either an ERG or for a committee who wants to get involved. And I'm super excited about that. We will continue to work, and the BITE Council are shaping out. So besides the ERGs that we have, as you know, we have WIN, we have BOLD, and we have VET. But besides those, we have 2 new committees that are forming. So Mickey is leading the employee engagement, and I'm pleased to announce that Tamika Morris from Investor Relations is going to lead the committee regarding partnerships. And that partnership committee is about making sure that we put our volunteer hours, our charitable donations into the best use, into the communities that where we can have an impact. And we are excited to continue with that work into moving forward. There are other people, Drew Garza, Bryn Lang. There's so many people that are involved, and I'm super excited. We will go out in the newsletters, and if you want to raise your hand, you want to participate, you want to contribute somehow, send me an email. Just get in touch, and we'll find, even if it's just, you know, you may not feel like you have a whole lot of time, but there's anything that you can do and contribute will be greatly appreciated. And part of that also is, of course, we will tie back into United Way. And I wanted to say a special thank you to everybody who was involved in the United Way campaign. And we broke all sorts of records. And we at corporate were enabled to do the campaign this year because of the cooperation and the kindness of our colleagues at Energy Services. We were able to join forces with them, and I really appreciate that as well. I've probably gone over, and I probably said too many things that but
it's good, Patrick. It's good.
I probably talk too fast. That I recognize.
I didn't want to say it. No, I think so. We've got 12 minutes left. So we always say that we would have a big Q&A, and but yes, we will make it happen at some point. But thank you so much, Patrick. I think we have some other appreciation ball here coming. No? Oh, Marguerite.
Yes. So I have another appreciation ball that I would like to send to someone who unfortunately can't attend the training because she's herself attending a training, but that would be Elodie Trey in France. I like to refer to our behaviors when appreciating our people. I do believe that Elodie did demonstrate in the very last weeks strong competencies in terms of continuous improvement and driving for results. And the reason why is we all had, as part of our performance management process, a new step, which was the calibration one. We all have systems, but some are a little bit more limiting compared to others. So the system that France is using for performance management is one of the limiting ones, which meant that for Elodie, this specific step meant having to extract some data from the system, having to liaise with all of our people leaders, to get some Excel spreadsheets to be filled in, and then to feed the leaders and make sure that they could have proper calibration discussions. So Elodie did so in a very short-term basis. Very good mindset, very good attitude, and she made it happen. So we wanted to highlight these great competencies that is definitely helping us improve our processes.
Thank you so much, Marguerite. And can I jump? I know that I would like to do one, and that's a great thing with appreciation, that each time you hear something, like, oh, it's me. So I want to also send an appreciation ball to Megan and Christine, working on culture at Energize. I told you how culture is so important. We will make that a big thing at the group level, and we will definitely get inspired about your work. We spoke about that with Erin yesterday. So congrats to both of you, and we'll definitely leverage that in a good way.
Yes.
Marguerite, your turn now to share about your scope.
Okay, so I can just see that we have 10 minutes left. How long do you want me to speak?
As efficient and clear as you usually do.
Okay, so I will try to be super agile. But speaking about agility, I would actually like to take this opportunity to send another appreciation ball before I get started. So you, and sorry, Patrick, I'm disturbing a little bit the process, but it felt that mentioning agility, it made me think about someone. So Sid, I'm sure you can hear me. How does it feel to be asked 5 minutes before the CEO joins to go through an interview with a CEO that you've never met before without any material, just your phone, finding a table, high chairs, because that CEO wants to do videos, but sitting on high chairs and making it happen? Yeah. So Tim,
it was really, really good.
We very often tell you that Veronique likes agility. This is one thing you will need to get used to. She can just come in your offices and ask you for crazy things to take place. Please make sure that you do these crazy things. And Sid, you did perfectly well. It was wonderful. Okay, so now I have basically 3 minutes to go through talent and performance. So if you could switch to the next slide. Good. So I will just highlight a few items. I will not go through all of the items because I want us to have time for Q&A. So performance management, you are all very much familiar with the process that is just ending both in the US and at international. So we will be in touch with plenty of different stakeholders in the coming weeks to make sure we can have a full, deep, comprehensive review of the cycle that is ending so that we can make quick recommendations for improvement to make sure that for the next cycle, we are fully efficient and that we learn from the past experiences and that we actually support the performance culture that we want to foster in our organization. So you will see us, we will put some meetings in the agendas, but both Aaron and myself will be in touch with many of the different stakeholders, you included. Talent review, so talent management, we will definitely in the coming weeks, now that Bob is joining, I will be in the US next week and I'm hoping to have good discussions on talent with Bob, but we'll need to define a clear framework and process that will align with the business agenda so that we can very quickly tackle the talent review process, which is meant to take place in the second quarter of the year. So more to come on this, but very optimistic and happy to have discussions on this topic with Bob next week. Learning and development, of course, we will design and implement programs to make sure that we develop our employees and that we grow capabilities so that they match the future competencies that we'll need in our organization. And we'll keep supporting the business in producing video contents for their e-learning needs. So we have lots of e-learning contents that we do support. So that's part of Wendy's scope in the L&D space. And data insights, you've heard all of us speak about data insights. It's a common theme in our different teams right now. We all feel that we have plenty of data available, plenty of insights, but we are not using them as much as we should. So to make sure that we tackle this subject, of course, as we did for AI, the first thing to work on is to create awareness. So we need all to understand what are the benefits of using data and what do we do with data. It's just populating data for the sake of having data. Is which stories do we build by having this data? And I would like to give an opportunity to Wendy to let us know what will be our next Fuel Your Future webinar about. You should all have received an invite yesterday, and I would like all of you to make sure that you can attend this webinar as it will be focusing on data and how, as an HR team, we should be using data. So Wendy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marguerite. I'm delighted to announce our December 12th Fuel the Future HR Development Opportunity, which is HR data storytelling, which aligns with our data insight goal as an HR team, as our leaders just mentioned, all of them that spoke today. This training will teach us how data storytelling makes complex data more understandable and accessible, engaging listeners, and improving decision-making by providing context and narrative to the data. We will learn how to use data storytelling to present data in a memorable manner, making data more relatable and meaningful, to inspire action and build trust with our stakeholders. We look forward to having you join us.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And thank you, Marguerite, for this very clear. Again, we're trying to give you clarity here. I know we've got 3 minutes left, so I said that we were trying to have some more Q&A. please, you know, we are making our best here and we'll make sure we improve next time. Any questions from the field before we do one or two more appreciation ball? While you think about your question, I would like to send one to Owen. We spoke about that with Erin. Owen, are you here on the screen? Very impressed how we run like the compensation training with a lot of people there. Great feedbacks. You made a good job. I told you already face to face, but I really wanted to highlight that here all together. Hopefully you're here. Otherwise, you'll tell Owen.
Thank you. I am here.
Any question here on straight or in the room or on the screen?
Can I piggyback and throw a ball, because I haven't thrown a
yes,
appreciation
Patrick.
ball. Yes. So this is maybe it's a bit out of left field, but I you know, working with Christine and Megan quite a bit and following the Amerigas story, I wanted to throw a ball to Kyle Zimmerman for her work in the reorganization, revamping, I was almost saying refinancing, but it wasn't, but revamping of Amerigas. So congratulations, Kyle. That's my appreciation ball to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. And I was really thrilled to meet your team some weeks ago in Valley Forge. And we all know that Amerigas, everything is important in our group, and we all convert, but we know Amerigas has to be fixed, and there's a huge effort being done there with Erin and Kyle on site. So thank you to you for everything you're doing here. Any last question? Because we've got 1 minute before I will end with a last appreciation ball, but any question you have? So you see, we were rushing for question, but there's no question.
I put a question for everybody in the chat.
Hey, can you put can we do a question, can we finish with we have a question for you. So how can people do that?
You can use the chat right now.
That's good. I think we can send it back to everybody. So you see, we are in our way here. We would love to have more interactive sessions, so we try to do that. And this is at the end. But oh, look at that! It's popping up. Culture, encourage, happy together. Very good. So we hope you had a good time all together. Again, the objective of this town hall is of course to give clarity, and I hope you get more and more clarity, but also to really link together. This is a Thanksgiving month, and we will not keep this appreciation ball only for Thanksgiving months. We will keep on doing that at each of our town hall. So before next round in January, if you feel about anybody you want to appreciate, then you just make sure that you send it to us so we can do that in a town hall. I also want these town halls to be the place to really say how we are grateful to work all together. So thank you for that. I think we will close now. The people who are here in the room will have the great privilege to do the tour. We will send you some pictures over there. I hope you all had a great time. And we'll meet for the next training in 1 month. And we'll then have our next town hall all together beginning of the year in January. Thank you to everybody.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Enjoy the training.
Have a good day for the US one.